Hey everyone. Pato and I say hello. Actually, he doesn't say hello because he's sleeping. Um, okay, but he's very cute. You can see. Oh, he's awake now because I had to show you how cute he is. And he got a new collar. It says Pato King and his phone number because he's an indoor-outdoor cat and I'm going to be moving soon. And I want to make sure the neighbors get to know him. Okay, sorry, enough about my cat. I'm sure you're all totally enthralled. Okay, let's jump on into the school data summary and its importance in your counseling program. I'm sorry, I'm sitting on the floor because the surface is just a little bit more flat and it's easier for me to get the best light that I need to in the apartment. So anyway, all right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so the school data summary is super, super, super important, and it's what you're going to do at the beginning of every school year to get a handle on your annual goals, to plan your guidance, to plan your calendar, basically to plan every aspect of your school counseling program because we're building our programs based on the needs of our individual schools. So a data-informed program relies on the data. You're going to look at attendance, achievement, and discipline data, as well as important information that's unique to your school. You want to organize this information, gather it, and discern, and use the data summary template to help guide your work. So the first thing that we're going to talk about steps for data collection. The first thing that you want to do is identify the experts that can help you get the information you need, as well as interpret. So this could be a district-wide data collector person or someone on campus or both. There's usually someone doing district-wide data collection, but there's typically someone on your campus who already has access to this information. So you're gonna find those people and ask for help. So you wanna look at those reports and then they can also help you interpret the results. So you're going to identify the needs in the school improvement plan. If you don't know what the school improvement plan is, this happens every single year on each campus, and your administrator, probably your assistant principal or your principal, is going to be the best person to help you get access to this. And so you're going to want to look over the goals on the school improvement plan and align your school counseling program goals with the goals on the SIP. This is a really great way to just support your overall campus because you want to align your goals with the goals that are already being attempted, that you already want to achieve on your campus. Not only that, but it helps you advocate for your school counseling program later, because if you can show data on how you've supported the SIP goals, your principals are going to love you and they're going to want to support what you're doing in your program. So yeah, you want to look at the needs in the SIP and ask which goals the counseling program can support. And then you want to look at data reports for the last few years to get a good look at the patterns. Compare your data with matching data from other schools, district, and the state, and you're going to discern big needs from the school improvement plan. You're going to narrow your focus and choose a few important subsets of data based on the SIP concerns. Know your demographics and notice patterns related to achievement and your demographics within your school, and compare it to the district and the state and look for specific needs. So example, attendance is worse on Mondays than Thursdays, or maybe grade 4 struggled to pass one portion of the STAR test, or maybe I don't know, whatever it might be. Look at the data, look at the SIP, and figure out what your specific needs are. Steps for data collection continued include step 5, which is to identify what else you need to know. So what else do you need to know to fully understand what might be contributing to identified areas of need or weakness? And collect supplemental information from stakeholders, teachers, parents, administrators, etc. So this is going to be like when you could put out your own needs assessment. So what I used to do is I used to send a needs assessment out to teachers at the beginning of every year to try to get a feel for what social emotional needs could be addressed by the school counseling program through my guidance lessons. So for instance, if bullying was a big issue in second grade, I would target my guidance and my activities for second grade on that need. So those are really, really important parts of the data collection puzzle. And then you want to, you could even send needs assessment home to parents or even students, particularly depending on the level you're working with. So if you're working with high school, they definitely know what social emotional issues are emerging for them. You want to identify and prioritize the information that the search yields can be overwhelming. So you can find, especially when you find that data person, because they're going to be like, well, what data do you want? Because I have all of it for everything, and you can get lost pretty quickly that way. So go back to the SIP and consult with administrators to pick goals for the year. And so you're going to want to only pick like 3 goals because you have a whole program to build out. And so for your annual outcome goals, just pick like 2 or 3. And this section of the implementation guide and the model do a really good job of breaking down step by step what you need to do. So go ahead and read over that section, because it's going to tell you exactly kind of how to do this. But I will say a huge tip is just to stick with the SIP and really kind of just get a feel for what the needs are in your campus and go from there. We use the data summary to so as I mentioned, like data helps kind of shape our entire program. So we're going to drive the development of the annual student outcome goals. As mentioned before, you're going to kind of look at your SIP, you're going to look at the data, attendance, achievement, social, emotional, etc. And you're going to create some goals for your counseling program based on this information. You're going to select appropriate ASCA mindsets and behaviors based on this information. So again, if you do a needs assessment and then it turns out that there's social emotional needs or academic needs that can be addressed by these ASCA mindset and behaviors, which, I mentioned previously, but I'll be mentioning again when we focus on them specifically, but you're going to infuse those ASCA mindsets and behaviors throughout your entire program. So if there are specific goals that can be addressed by these mindsets and behaviors, you're going to want to incorporate those into your goals. It's the data summary helps support the rationale for the Closing the Gap Action Plan Results Report. And we'll get to closing the gap in a subsequent chapter. It's there to educate advisory council members as an agenda item in meetings. So you're going to keep your stakeholders informed at an advisory council meeting. And we'll get to that later in the semester as well, but you'll create an advisory council with community members, and you can let them know, what the data summary states about certain things. And it provides supporting information for small group responsive services, classroom and group mindsets and behaviors, action plan and results report, calendars, and your annual administrative conference. So again, you're shaping your entire program around this data. You're going to choose guidance lessons that match the mindsets and behaviors that you're wanting to address based on the needs of your school. So if you're having issues with attendance or testing or specific subject areas, then you're going to look at the mindsets and behaviors that link to academic achievement, to self-sufficiency, to autonomy, to self-esteem. Those things connect directly. And it also helps you plan your calendar. So as I mentioned, if you could run so you're tailoring your guidance in your small groups based on the needs of your school. So on your calendar, you're going to want to have activities that address how to manage and take care of your morning and your routine. Maybe you do a small group helping the biggest strugglers for attendance with how they can take care of themselves in the morning. Could be just setting up a routine and practicing it. But it just depends on what the needs are at your school. But this will all be reflected on your annual calendar. And then your annual administrative conference. So again, this is a perfect time to advocate for your school counseling program, because if you're tailoring your school counseling program goals based on the SIP, and then you go into your annual administrative conference, which is your conference where you meet with your administrator at the beginning of the school year to let them know what your goals are and what you're going to be doing in the counseling program. They're going to feel supported if you include those goals that are on the SIP, and they're going to feel like you're really working with them to help achieve the school-wide goals. All right, so I'm going to end this, but I do want to kind of show you just the data summary. So this is your template. Actually, let me pull up the assignment. Okay. So you're going to follow the steps that I kind of just went over, but also that are in the implementation guide. And for your website, you're going to set up a page called Program Planning School Data Summary on your Google site. And then you want to follow the steps and put this is kind of some of the data points that come off maybe the SIP or when looking through the data. And you're going to create some demographics tables and charts. So in addition to just this school summary, I want you to create some general demographics charts. So from page 29 of the implementation guide, and then in a second chart, identify needs related to achievement data, attendance data, and discipline data. Model your chart on the implementation guide on page 30 to 35. You can choose only 1 or 2 data descriptors for each topic, so don't feel like you have to fill out the entire thing. Okay, and then I have, let's see. I have the template here. So you're going to fill the data points out, and then you're also going to create a general demographics chart and a chart based on achievement and attendance data. So some of the things that you might want to look for that could become goals later are related to achievement, attendance, and discipline. That's another way to kind of guide your goals. So if there are students, failing required standardized tests, students whose test scores are on the bubble, failing 1 core class, students failing 2 or 3 core classes, etc. You can read this on page 33, but these are some good ideas for possible goals. You want attendance, so excused and unexcused absences, students with excessive absences, late arrivals, with students with quite a few health clinic visits, students who've been identified as skipping school, or students who have been referred to the counselor for attendance concerns, or students enrolling after the first day of school. And then discipline. So discipline's another area to look at. What are the disciplinary referrals by offense type? Students with more than 1 official discipline referral, students with 1 official discipline referral. You can look at in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, and alternative placements for discipline, and students referred for the multi-tiered systems of support team for discipline, and students referred to school counseling for discipline. So yeah, read over those. And then you want to create a chart based on page 35. So you're going to put your data descriptor. Can't really see it here, but it's on page 35 of your implementation guide. You want to put your data descriptor and then kind of break it down by demographics. So there's you can see here there's an attendance example, a discipline example. Here. So, but those are good starts. So if you wanted an attendance related data issue or a discipline related data issue, you could use that. But if you've already looked at your SIP with your administrator, you may want to kind of pull just straight from the SIP. Okay, so that's all I have for your data summary. Again, the data summary is going to just help you create those goals. And it's just a good practice to kind of get in the habit of doing at the beginning of the year. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop there, and then we're going to talk about annual student goals in a minute. Thanks.